Hello all, Shurue here, back again with another video. This time, it's for an unboxing for an item that I did not think I was going to be able to get my hands on. Thankfully, a friend of mine managed to catch an Amazon Prime exclusive sale. Now, I don't have Amazon Prime at the moment, so he sent me the link. I was about to jump on it. Then I realized, oh, I don't have Prime. So, I asked him to front it for me, and thankfully he was able to do that, and it came in today. So, I figured getting it out of the box and the bag would make for a good video, especially given how hard these are to find. Now, as my upcoming video game history video will address, I did not grow up with a Super Nintendo or an NES. My first Nintendo console was the N64. However, over the years I have basically discovered the Super Nintendo library, and it has quickly become, or it did quickly become, one of my favorite systems. So when I heard about the NES Classic, let's see what we got. Manual there. When I heard about the NES Classic, I thought, that doesn't appeal to me all that much. I'm not actually a huge fan of the NES. But I said, well, if the Super Nintendo Classic, if something like that is ever made, I'll jump all over that. That's definitely something I would be interested in. These rubber select and start buttons are weird. I did hear about them, and didn't know what to make of them then, and I'm even more confused now. This controller feels a little small. I've never owned a Super Nintendo. I've only held an actual SNES controller a few times. I have more experience with the library than the system itself. So maybe the controllers, the original controllers were this small, I'm not sure. But yeah, I had gone around a bunch of stores when it came out, because there were a bunch of them saying, yeah, we've got them in stock, and because of the limited supply, we're doing the one per customer thing. There's the port for the controller. So I thought, that's awesome. I thought, well, maybe I'll actually be able to get my hands on it. It won't be as scarce as the NES Classic. Wasn't able to do it, obviously, which is what led me to the story that I already told you. There's the second controller. We've got an HDMI cable. A USB cable. Not entirely sure what the purpose of that is, but... And, of course, we have the system itself. The Super Nintendo Classic, or Super Nintendo Mini. I definitely like the lineup on this. I do think it's a little odd. Let's see. Wow, that's A really flimsy way to do that. Okay. I do think it's a little odd that they only included 20, just like it was a little odd that they only included 30 games on the NES Classic, when they could have easily fit the entire library on here. But the games that they did pick for the SNES Classic, it's a good solid lineup. It's a good choice. I was going through, I think it was either yesterday or the day before. I was expecting maybe 2 Square RPGs. I want to say, I think there were 3, maybe 4, turned out to be the case. The closest thing to a complaint, there are 2 things that I could complain about with the NES Classic, really. Discounting the whole thing about how the whole library should be on the system. Yeah, as far as library, there are 2 other complaints I could levy at this thing, kind of. And that is, there's no Mario All-Stars, which is easily my favorite way to play those games. And no Chrono Trigger. However, we have Secret of Mana, FF6, and Super Mario RPG, so it's really hard for me to complain. Especially when the superior version of Chrono Trigger is on the DS anyway. And, of course, because the Super Mario All-Stars games were all playable on the NES Classic, it does make sense why they wouldn't include those games on here. And then, of course, there's the newly released, or never released until now, I guess, Star Fox 2. I don't actually have any real experience with the Star Fox games, but it is something that I have been, at the very least, curious enough about to try to investigate in. I'm definitely, well, I'm happy to have this at any rate, even if I don't actually end up using it to play the games, because, to be honest, these games are all pretty accessible, with the exception of Star Fox 2, obviously. So I'll use it for that, but maybe. I don't know. But at the very least, this is a really nice collector's item, and I'm very happy to have it. Very happy I was able to grab it. So that's about it from me for this one. Keep your eyes out for the gaming history video that I talked about before. See you next time, guys.